Dust off your conductor's cap. It's time for the annual Amherst Railway Society's Hobby Show. John Sacerdote and Dick Joyce joined me in the studio to discuss this year's happenings. I first asked Sacerdote about last year's record-breaking crowd.
I think the first thing was that we advertised a lot more. We upped the advertising budget, and it turned out that it really paid off. For the extra amount of money we spent, we probably got it back 3 or 4-fold.
Because you drew, typically you draw about 25,000, and you drew 27,000.
Yes, total population last year was an all-time record for us in 27 plus, just over 27,000.
And so new this year, you're switching up the clinic approach a little bit and taking it off campus. Can you talk a little bit about that, Dick?
Well, as a matter of fact, yes. We are going to move to the Sheraton downtown Springfield on Friday, where we'll have a whole day of clinics done by very, very well-known people in the hobby who are going to start with basics and go through a whole different litany of
you called it on your website a master's course.
Exactly.
In sort of the art of train hobby.
And at that, we will offer a luncheon for them and breakfast for them for that day, so they don't even have to leave the facility. And at the same time, they have a free admittance to the show.
Which would start the next day on Saturday. This year it's the
correct.
26th and 27th. And you've taken some more real estate at the Big E this year, right, John?
Yes, people are always asking me, when is it going to stop? And it's pretty close to stopping. There really is no other building that's winterized over there that we haven't taken already that's in the close proximity of connecting them all together with tents because of the weather. But there's just a little bit of room left, but we've taken another 15,000 square feet, mostly for layouts.
And that's why you've added, because the layouts are large, right? The way that you put each display together and let people sort of weave through and check out what's happening.
Exactly. One of the layouts is New England Freemo, which is just, it's like a free motion, goes wherever. And that layout is about 60 by 60 in an L shape. So it's like huge. According to the folks that are coming from that group, it's the largest they've ever put together so far.
And are they new to the show this year?
No, they were actually here last year in a small version, and when they found out how much fun it was,
Exactly.
They had told all the other guys that are part of that modular group, you guys have got to come to this show. And so they swarmed and they're to be here, and they ended up being about 4 times the size as they were last year.
And you shared some pictures with us this year from shows past, and one of the pictures that stood out to me was some kids gathered around what looks to be a television screen and playing a video game. Is there such thing as a railroad video game? Did I interpret that correctly?
Yeah, partly. Actually, mostly you are absolutely correct. But what that is an actual engineer simulator. So it is in the form of a video game, but you can actually buy a separate set of controls. It's a miniature version of the controls on a locomotive. And you could actually pilot this, and on a larger screen, you're actually moving down the tracks. You could blow the horn, the whistle, and of course, as soon as things like that come out, there are all these other third-party software houses that say, oh, let's do the New England route, or let's do the route from Springfield to Boston. So.
Now, this is not to say anything about the age of most hobby enthusiasts, but does that draw younger people to the show, Dick?
It draws younger people, but as you can imagine, it also draws people who are not quite younger people anymore.
Everybody wants to be a train
They all
conductor,
do.
right?
It draws them right up to there until I boot them out and say, no, my turn.
Particularly when you get the bigger screen.
Yeah.
Because it looks like you're in the cab of a locomotive and you're going, for example, as John said, from here to Boston. When it says slow, you've got to slow. If you're going too fast on the simulator, going around a curve, you're going to have a derailment.
Which wouldn't be funny in real life, but we can chuckle.
But in this one,
about it here.
we're able to give a lot of grief to the person who went off, and particularly if it's one of our own group.
How else has technology impacted the art of hobbying, or however you would phrase it? I guess that's how I'm going to choose to phrase it.
Actually, in the last year on my own layout, I've just switched control systems, and it's pretty much state of the art these days, although it's very hard, like anything in technology these days, to keep up with. But I've just switched over to a system that allows for sound as well as motion independent of all other locomotives. And you could ring the bell, you could blow the horn, you'd have lights flashing, you could do all these crazy things, all generated now by computer technology.
Computer technology, whereas before, take us back, Dick, when you first started, what was it like to control a train on a track? Was it dragging it along with your hands, or did you have a little more advanced technology?
You had the push-pull of the person operating it, but then they went initially to a car battery in many cases. And then as they got to a small transformer, and the transformer was then able to run a power to the track, and you got some movement. But you had to be very careful with that because you couldn't run two trains on the same piece of track at the same time.
Because it would cause a collision, or there wasn't enough juice?
No, because electrically
not enough juice.
Not enough juice.
John, something I know that you think about year to year, and you talk about amongst the group, is who to bring into the show. And I understand it was a bit of a debate a few years ago when you brought in Lego, even though it's a pretty popular piece of the show for a lot of folks.
It really is popular, and see, our show is, and I think it's why we do so well still to this day, is known as the purist show. It's a hobbyist show. It's a place where you could find things that aren't anywhere else because of the combination of manufacturers and swap meet type people and flea market type people and collectors and dealers. So you really, if you're looking for something, it's probably at our show. So the big debate started when we started to bring in things other than the pure hobbyist stuff, like things for the kids. And to me, it's really a balancing act. We need to invest in the future. We need to have something for the kids because that's how I got hooked when I was 7. So you need to expose them to this stuff and have them grow into it. So yeah, I took a little bit of heat from some of our friends that are the purists, but we do a few things with that. There's a couple of Thomas the Train things, and there's even a train ride now, and it's just an investment to me.
Well, I know you said Thomas the Train. I know here on our staff, Keith Clark and his son Nick, that's the reason that they started coming to the show, was the fact that Nick was into Thomas the Train, and it's certainly evolved from there. I mean, they go every year.
Yeah, that's great.
But you mentioned that this is something people purists are interested in this show because they can find things. Dick, what are people looking for in that purist vein when they go to the show?
One of the things that we find that within the show you have so many different varieties of people that are the purists. For example, we have a purist that is somebody who collects for the purposes of putting it on a shelf and having the model that they saw when they were a youngster that's made, and they never do anything with it but put them on shelves. Mm-hmm. Then you have the next person who wants to run the trains, and they just want to go around a circle. And that to them is the pure operation of running around. Then you start getting into degrees where you start saying, just as the real railroad, you have each car has a car card, and you don't move that car unless you have the proper card, and you get in, so you develop that. And then you have the people who are purists from the standpoint of artistic abilities. They want to have the city and town go with the railroad.
So wide variety of things. It's a really fun show. It's great to have you back in to talk about it. Choo choo.
Thank you very much.
The Rail